Welcome back, everybody. You're joining us for another deep dive, and let me tell you, today's topic is a fascinating one. We're going to be talking about animal intelligence and just how smart some of these creatures really are.
That's right. We're going to be looking at some research about animals that are often considered some of the brainiest on the planet.
But before we even start naming names, I think it's worth thinking about how do we even measure intelligence across different species? I mean, it's not like we could just give a dolphin an IQ test.
Yeah, it's a really good point. There's no one-size-fits-all approach, no single yardstick that we can use to measure intelligence across the animal kingdom. Different animals have evolved to be intelligent in different ways. Each has its own sort of cognitive toolkit to help them thrive in their own unique environment.
So it's kind of like comparing apples and oranges.
Okay.
Okay, so with that in mind, let's dive into some specifics. Our research here starts off with the familiar face, or should I say a familiar primate, the chimpanzee.
Yeah.
Often considered our closest relative in terms of intelligence, chimps share almost 99% of their DNA with humans. But what does that actually mean in terms of their brain power?
Well, we see those genetic similarities reflected in some pretty remarkable cognitive abilities. Chimps are incredible problem solvers. They can use tools, they have complex social structures, and even though they don't have language like we do, their communication skills are astounding.
I've always been blown away by that study where chimpanzees completely outperformed humans in a memory test. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
They were shown a series of numbers flashed on a screen and they could remember the sequence perfectly. Meanwhile, the humans were struggling. It makes you wonder, is it just raw processing power or is there something else going on there?
That's what's so interesting. It seems that chimpanzees might actually have an edge in what's called photographic memory or eidetic memory. Like they can take a visual snapshot and retain it with incredible detail. So maybe their visual processing and the way their brains encode those memories is just fundamentally different from ours.
Huh. Fascinating. It's not just that they're smarter, it's that they have different strengths, different ways of thinking. So, okay, moving on from our primate cousins, let's talk about another animal known for its intelligence, dolphins. And I know they're famous for their communication, but I think it's way more than just like clicks and whistles.
Absolutely. Dolphins use echolocation, so they're emitting sound waves and then interpreting the echoes to create this incredibly detailed picture of their surroundings. And they can use it for everything. Navigating, finding prey, identifying different objects.
Well, it's almost like they're seeing with sound.
Exactly.
And our source mentions that this ability to see with sound actually ties into their incredible hunting strategies, specifically their cooperative hunting.
Yeah, their hunting techniques, they involve complex communication, incredible coordination, and it really suggests a high level of social intelligence. It's like they're working together as a team, anticipating each other's movements, adapting to the situation. I mean, you really got to be smart to pull that off.
Well, for sure. Now let's move on to another type of great ape, orangutans. Our research here really focuses on their learning and memory, which is impressive for any animal.
Mm.
But I've even heard they can use tools. Is that right?
Yeah, they are quite adept tool users, but what's particularly striking about orangutans is their understanding of cause and effect. There's a really good example where they've been observed using sticks to fish for termites.
Oh, interesting.
They understand that if they push the stick into the termite mound, it'll cause the termites to climb onto it.
So they're basically conducting their own little science experiments. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, next up, elephants. I think most people know elephants have amazing memories, but her source really emphasizes just how incredible it is.
Yeah, elephants have what's called episodic memory, which means they can actually remember specific events, specific experiences from their past.
Oh.
And that allows them to recall all sorts of vital information. They remember the location of watering holes during a drought. They remember routes through their vast territories. They even seem to remember individuals they've encountered years ago.
It's like their memories are these living maps, these social networks, all rolled into one. And it's not just that they're brilliant, but they're deeply emotional too. Our source mentions their capacity for grief and their ability to recognize themselves in mirrors. That's pretty advanced.
It is. Elephants display this remarkable depth of emotion. Researchers have even observed them mourning their dead. They show behaviors that really suggest an awareness of loss and grief.
It's incredible. Speaking of recognizing individuals, that brings us to our final contender today, crows. They might not be the cuddliest creatures on the list, but their intelligence is undeniably impressive, and I've heard they can hold a grudge.
Oh, they can, definitely. Crows are masters of problem solving. They're known for using tools, bending wires into hooks to retrieve food, even dropping nuts onto hard surfaces to crack them open. But one of the things that really sets crows apart is their ability to recognize and remember human faces, even after years of not seeing a particular person.
Wow. So just to recap, crows are using tools, they're holding grudges, and they might even outperform me in a facial recognition contest. I mean, I can barely remember faces from last week.
Yeah.
So all these incredible abilities, what does all this tell us about animal intelligence in general?
Well, I think what's truly fascinating is that all these different forms of intelligence that we've talked about, they've all evolved in response to the specific challenges that each species faces in its own environment. Intelligence isn't a single thing. It's this diverse array of cognitive abilities that have emerged through natural selection.
So it's not a question of who's the smartest. It's about how different animals are intelligent in their own unique ways.
Precisely. And that leaves us with a pretty amazing question. What other forms of intelligence might be out there in the animal kingdom just waiting to be discovered? What might we learn about ourselves and the very nature of intelligence itself as we continue to explore the cognitive world of other species?
That's an incredible thought. Who knows what other hidden geniuses are out there? I encourage everyone listening to go do some more research, dive deeper into the world of animal cognition. You never know what you might find.
I completely agree.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive, but I think this conversation has only just scratched the surface.
For sure.
So until next time, keep those brains buzzing, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.
See you then.